Hi, Gaye DeRusso here with the Majestic Rider. So today I'm going to talk to you about buying a horse. Most people, when they're looking at horses, they're mostly looking at looks of the horse and the excitement of the horse or how forward it is. And what a lot of people are missing, and this is what trainers try to help you with, is they're trying to find you what you actually need and not what you want. So a lot of people are looking for certain colors, like they want a paint horse or a chestnut with a flaxen mane, or they're looking for a black horse, or a certain size, a certain look, a certain gait is what they're looking for, and what they miss is the temperament of the horse. So when I am helping people or I'm showing horses, the first thing I try to get across to them is, how safe is this horse for you? Is this what you need? I try to tell people, don't get what you want, but get what you need. So where are you riding? Is the horse going to be stabled alone or with other horses? How often will you be riding? Do you know anything about gaited horses? Do you know how to get it to gait? If it can't gait, if it was not bred well, are you going to be able to help it to gait? How much can you spend? And on. I ask them a whole bunch of questions. And the reason why, again, is a lot of people see the horses online and they're kind of buying a dream. What you're trying to get when you're looking at a horse is, do I feel safe when I ride it? Did you test it well enough? If you're going to ride a horse on trail, you need to test it on trail and not test it in the arena, because you want to make sure it's going to gait well on trail for you, and also it's a horse that you can handle. All horses have some kind of issues, and so is it an issue that you'll be able to deal with? So sometimes you'll go out and you'll try a horse and you're like, well, I felt super safe on it, but it wasn't a very exciting ride, and it's not super fast, and it didn't have the best canter, or it didn't have the best gait, and on they go. So what I try to tell them is, what's the most important thing to you? To me, it's safety. So did you feel safe on that horse, and could you handle it? 2, how were its gaits? Was it smooth for you? Or did it keep getting bumpy? Because that's the second thing that's most important. And then 3, can it do all the things that you need that horse to do for you? Because again, a lot of people just go and buy looks, and then the horse is not safe for them. It can't do what they need it to do. In other words, it can't take care of the rider. And they just go for the look. Now, some of you, even though you're watching this video, are still going to go out and buy the wrong horse. So let me put in a little bit different perspective, because we're always, looking at horses, and we're trying to get the most perfect horse, and we sometimes vet check them to death. And what we're trying to do is just make sure it's a safe horse, and it's going to last for the time that you need to ride it. You can't predict any horse, even if it's the most perfect horse and is vet checked totally clean, that it's going to last 10 or 20 years. So you need to take all that into consideration when you're looking at a horse. So to put in a different perspective, when we're looking for a partner in life, 1, we don't vet check them. A lot of people don't go through their medical history. Hey, do you have any heart disease in your family? Do you have any diabetes? Is there any history of cancer? We don't ask any of those questions when we meet that person, right? We're going on the chemistry we're having with that person. And sometimes that is the worst thing to go on, because a lot of times that makes you pick the wrong person for the long haul, because you're trying to make sure you have some chemistry, but it doesn't have to be, even though you want it, you shouldn't pick it all on excitement and chemistry, because you really can pick the wrong person. And that's why a lot of people fall for the wrong guy or the wrong woman, because they're looking for that excitement. So now I'm going to give you examples of a person, and then I'll give you an example of the horse that fits. So we have Joe over here. Joe is the most gorgeous man I've ever seen. He's good looking. He's got a awesome physique, and he's a fun guy. When you go out, he is always creating excitement. There's always something going on with him. And so when you see him, that's the guy you want to date. You're like, oh, I would love to marry him and take him home, right? So that's your first impression of Joe, is he's exciting, good looking, and awesome physique. Let me tell you really about Joe. Joe is very exciting until he's not exciting. Joe has some issues that lie beneath him. So he, of course, can talk to you really well because he's a womanizer. So he knows exactly what to tell women, to take them home. And Joe would not make a very good husband because Joe likes so many women that he is going to cheat on you for the rest of your life if you marry him. Joe is very exciting and likes to go places, and therefore he does not like to stay home with kids. So if you want to have children, Joe is not the guy that you should marry because he's going to leave you with those kids and you're going to have to support them on your own. Joe doesn't like to work and he's very lazy, and so he's not going to be able to support the family. So besides you having to raise those kids by yourself, you're also going to have to support the family. And in the end, even though Joe is good looking and exciting, you're going to hate Joe because Joe was not what you needed. Joe was just what you wanted. So does that make a little bit more sense to you? Now I'm going to tell you about Joe the horse. Joe is the most beautiful horse I've ever seen. He's got a long flowing mane and the most unique color, and he will get you noticed. Joe is a very fast horse and has lots of power. He is brave and he is bold, but he also is one of the most competitive horses in the group. And if you plan on riding in groups, Joe is not the horse for you because Joe, if you put him in the back, is going to rear up and he is going to leap in the air. Joe does not want to, oh my God, she keeps texting me. Joe does not want to be in the back of the pack. He wants to be in the front because he thinks he is the best ever, and therefore he wants to lead that ride. So if you're not a good rider, Joe is not the horse for you because he's going to rear up and give you all sorts of issues. If you're going to ride in groups, Joe is not the horse for you because he's way too competitive. If you're going to ride alone and you're a good rider, then sure, Joe would be great for you. But see the difference? What you need and what you want can be totally different. And Joe's temperament is hot, right? He's hot. So you got to make sure you get Joe out a lot. He's not one that you can let sit for a couple of days and then just get on and ride him. Because if you do, he's probably going to try and kill you. And Joe, if you let him sit for many days, even though he's brave, will get jumpy and spooky and start spooking at random stuff that he usually does not spook at. So would I recommend Joe for anyone? No, not me, because I'm all about safety. So I think Joe can go out the door and somebody else can buy him, but not one of my clients. All right, now let me give you another horse. So Brad. Brad's a nice guy. And I'm going to talk about the guy first and then the horse. So Brad's a nice guy. He seems to be responsible. He has a good job. He's not the smartest, guy out there, but he holds a good job and he makes a decent amount of money. He's a hard worker. He can fix things around the house if they break, and he can figure stuff out. He's kind and he's sweet. He likes kids, he likes dogs, he likes horses. And he'll support you in whatever you want to do. Brad is the kind of guy that if you get sick in 10 years, he's going to take care of you right to the very end. Now let's talk about Brad the horse. So Brad's a nice looking horse. He's not the prettiest one out there. He has a decent tail but not a good mane. It's not very long, it's not thick and flowing. Brad has a nice gait. Yes, he doesn't have the fanciest gait out there, And it's not the smoothest gait you've ridden, but he has a good gait. He's sure-footed going down hills. You don't have to help him. He doesn't trip. If he trips, it's occasionally, it's not all the time, because he doesn't drag his toes because he wants to keep everybody safe. If you get in a bad situation, the worst Brad will do is just plant his feet. He doesn't spin and run away. Brad will try to do anything you want him to do, although it might take him a little bit of time if he hasn't done it before. Brad does not have papers, and we're not sure exactly of his breeding. Brad, on his vet check, does pretty well. He has some minor issues, but nothing major. He toes out a little bit, and he has some, let's say, he has some wind puffs in the back. But the vet says overall this horse should, give you at least 10 years of more of good riding. He is very willing to let the vet and the shoer handle him. He is safe on the ground and will let you brush him and all sorts of things. But Brad does not have a big personality. So he's not running over to you and nuzzling you when you tried him at the sales place. But Brad is the safest horse in the barn, and that is the one that the trainer is recommending for you to get. Now this is the hard part, because you want to get Joe, right? Because Joe's the fancy hot horse that you would love to show all your friends and get you noticed. But your trainer is telling you that Brad is the way to go, right? So it's kind of like when your mother told you many years ago, don't date Joe. Joe's going to cheat on you, and he's going to leave you for some other woman, and you're going to have 3 children at home, and you're going to have to work a job and support yourself and the kids. And you're thinking, I'm young, I have no kids, I don't know what the heck she's talking about, I just want to go for the excitement. But she's telling you, hey, in the long run, if you want to have a family and be supported and someone to take care of you, Brad is the way to go. Okay? So as a trainer, that's what we're trying to get the point across to you, is that you might not make an immediate connection with the horse, and it might not be the fanciest one in the barn, it might not be the fastest one, but he is the safest one, and that is the one we choose for you. Because you can do many things to make the horse go faster, you can bring your energy up, you can become a better rider, you can feed him alfalfa and grain, and that will usually get most horses hotter. But that hot horse and that exciting horse with the competitiveness is much harder to deal with. You can give him calming supplements, you can put a bigger bit in his mouth, and you can ride him in groups, and over time he will get better, but he will never be that calm horse that Brad is. So would you want Joe or would you want Brad? I pick Brad. That's who I pick over and over again for my sale horses. And Joe, I see many Joes out there, and I look at them, and they're very pretty, and then I turn my back on Joe, and I take Brad home and train him, and make him the best horse he can be. So just remember that when you're looking at horses, men, women, dogs, pick the one that will help you. Pick the one you need, and do not pick the one that you want, because a lot of people buy with their heart and not with their brain. So if you can't make that distinction, get someone to come with you who will use their brain and tell you the right one to pick.